This is my video update on this Sunday afternoon, January the 5th, coming to you from Athens, Greece. I'm back in Athens. Let's talk about some news. And let's start things off with another U.S.-Ukraine ATHEREUM long-range missile strike into pre-2014 Russian territory. 8 ATHEREUMs were launched earlier today into Belgorod. And according to the Russian Ministry of Defense, all 8 ATHEREUMs were brought down. This is what the Russian Ministry of Defense is saying. They also said the actions of the Kiev regime, supported by its Western handlers, will elicit retaliatory measures. That's a statement from the Russian MOD. Keep in mind that according to reports from the collective West, mainstream media, Ukraine a couple of months ago had only 50 ATHEREUMs left out of a total of 500 ATHEREUMs that Bidenopolis, Greece's favorite son, had given to the Zelensky regime. And they were down to 50. This was 3-4 months ago, according to reports from the collective West, if you believe these reports from the collective West media. I believe it was the New York Times or the Washington Post that reported this. So another 8 ATHEREUMs were launched into Belgorod. The ATHEREUM's wonder weapon, that was not a wonder weapon. Very ineffective. The ATHEREUM's missiles, but still, the Biden administration continues to launch attacks into pre-2014 Russian territory, which is, as stated by Putin, a Russian red line. Anyway, we have the Zelensky regime, the Ukraine military, launching a counteroffensive. That happened today in the Kursk direction. The reports are that the Ukraine military, they are trying to break through in Kursk to go where? I don't know. I don't know where they're thinking of going. Whatever's left of the Ukraine military in this pocket in Kursk, they decided instead of retreating back, saving themselves, saving the men, the soldiers, the resources, artillery, and pulling back, the Zelensky regime, Syrsky, they said, push forward to accomplish what goal? What military goal? I don't know. But you know, this is not a surprise. This doesn't surprise me at all. This is exactly the kind of stunt that Zelensky is famous for, actually, as a military strategist, tactician. This is exactly what I would expect Zelensky to order, or the collective West, most likely the UK, to order Zelensky to do. A couple of days, we're going to have Orthodox Christmas, and in 2 weeks, Biden is gone and Trump is in. So this makes perfect sense if you try to get into the mind of the UK military strategists and the Green Goblin. Launching an attack into Kursk, an offensive into Kursk, does not come as a surprise at all. I've read different reports from Ukraine media. I've read reports saying that the Ukraine military is making progress. They're making some progress, is what Ukraine Telegram channels and media outlets are saying. The Russian side of things are saying that these forces are getting annihilated. But they continue to push forward. I was reading a report, I believe, from a Russian fighter pilot, allegedly this is coming from a Russian fighter pilot, who said that they're just picking off the Ukraine forces, trying to push deeper into Russian territory, but Ukraine continues to send more and more soldiers into this offensive. That's a report from a Russian fighter pilot, if you believe it. I believe it. I think it makes sense that without, I mean, what kind of progress is the Ukraine military actually thinking of making in this direction? Why would they do this? It seems like they're playing right into Russia's hands as far as Kursk is concerned by trying to push forward. I don't know. Here's an ex-post from the Alex Malejits. He says, "Thank God. I was fearing that the Ukrainian," in reference to the Ukraine offensive. This is actually a reply to a post from Zlati71, who talks about Ukraine forces launching an offensive in the Kursk region. And this ex-account replies to Zlati71 and says, "Thank God. I was fearing that the Ukrainian military got smart and decided on a strategic retreat. But no, they doubled down on stupid." I agree with that. They doubled down, double, triple, quadrupled down on an operation that just makes no military sense. From a media optics angle, I guess it makes sense. If you're Zelensky, if you're the UK, if you're the EU, I imagine that you want to try and cause chaos for Russia during the holiday season. I don't know, maybe that's one reason. But more likely, they want to show the Trump White House that they can make progress into Russia, that they can continue to push forward, so continue to support Ukraine with more money and weapons. That's the only rationale that I can put behind this. I don't know. Anyway, Olaf Scholz, the pirate. We are getting news that he is trying to arrange a trip to Moscow to see Putin. The pirate wants to meet the Putin. If I was Russia, and I think I have some coffee right here. If I was Russia and I agreed to allow the pirate to come and visit, I would humiliate the pirate Scholz to the max, man. That's me. I know that Russia is going to be a lot more diplomatic and they're going to be professional. But man, if pirate Scholz came to visit me after everything that Germany has done and the way they escalated, I would humiliate the pirate to the max. I would have him meet. If I was the foreign ministry, I would tell Scholz that he has to meet Putin wearing an eye patch and a parrot on his shoulder. I don't know. And then I would arrange a press conference for the pirate Scholz, and I would tell the reporters, the Russian media, I wouldn't allow any Western media. I would not allow any Western media, no BBC, no Sky News, none of these guys, no NBC, they would be banned. And I would call in the Russian media, and every single question, I would direct the Russian media and tell them every question has to be about Nord Stream. And I would tell Scholz, you have to stay for 1 hour and get real questions about Nord Stream from the Russian media. That's me. That is me. But Russia is going to be more professional than I would be. But yeah, Olaf Scholz, he's trying to get to Moscow to see Putin. He's trying to pull an Angela Merkel 2015 Debaltsevo Donbass conflict move. That's the move that he's trying to pull. A Merkel 2015 Debaltsevo. And he's doing this for election reasons. He wants to position himself. He wants to differentiate himself from Merz, in that Merz is pushing hard for all-out war with Russia, and Scholz wants to position himself as, yes, I support Ukraine for as long as it takes, blah, 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 but I also want to find a way to wind down this war, because he understands that in Germany, continuing to escalate is not popular. So that's how he's trying to position himself. So this is a political move from the pirate. And I also believe that he believes that he can pull a fast one on Putin, like Merkel did in 2015, which eventually led to the Minsk agreements. So that's the pirate Scholz. We'll see if this actually happens, if he actually makes it to Moscow before February 23rd, when the elections in Germany are scheduled to take place. In Austria, we have an Zelensky curse that happened. Nieheimer, he's gone. He is dropping out as Chancellor of Austria. I talked about this in my video update yesterday. He was unable to form a government, a coalition government. They had three parties, but the one party, the smaller party, pulled out, and it left him with two parties. They could have formed a government, but with a one-seat majority, these two parties in Austria, it looks like they opted to not go through with this. They would have had a very weak majority in the parliament, and so Nieheimer has dropped out as Chancellor of Austria. Let me read you what Nieheimer says, fresh from his Zelensky curse. Man, the Zelensky curse is just taking down leaders left and right. Trudeau, you're next. You're next, buddy. I will stand down, this is what Nieheimer said, I will stand down as Chancellor and as leader of the People's Party in the coming days and enable an orderly transition, Nieheimer said in a video statement on X on Saturday. In the interest of the country, we pursued negotiations in good faith, but it has become clear that an agreement is not possible. So to be fair to Nieheimer, he wasn't as warmongerish, war hawkish as the other EU leaders. He actually did go to Moscow 2.5 years ago to meet with Putin. He actually did make some sort of an effort to try and de-escalate things to a certain degree. But after his trip to Moscow, he just went along with pretty much with everything that Ursula and the EU kleptocrats decided for Ukraine, for Project Ukraine. He went along with it. But he wasn't as bad as all the other European Union leaders, all the other collective West leaders. Nieheimer, he could have, if he was smart, he would have followed Orban. If he was smart, he would have followed Orban. What a perfect fit that would have been, huh? Austria, Hungary, Slovakia. It would have been cool if Georgescu was allowed to win the elections instead of the globalists canceling the elections in Romania. Can you imagine that? We might have had four countries pushing for a peace, for a ceasefire. But he went the other way. He sided with Ursula instead of siding with Orban, and Orban was proven right. Nieheimer was proven wrong. His decision was wrong, and now he has been Zelensky cursed. Nieheimer, you've been Zelensky cursed. So he's gone. That caught me by surprise. It's always nice to hear the church bells, though. It's a nice sound, isn't it? So we got to talk about Blinken. We have got to talk about Blinken. He is giving his exit interviews. He gave an interview to the Financial Times, and he gave an interview to the New York Times. And I have to say, Blinken is delusional, man. You read these interviews with Blinken. The New York Times one is long. Man, this interview is freaking long. He talks about, or he was giving questions about Afghanistan. He was giving questions about Project Ukraine. And he was giving questions about Gaza, Israel, the Middle East, Lebanon, Iran. That was actually the bulk of the interview, was actually focused on the Middle East, where Blinken says that the Biden White House did a great job. They did nothing wrong. Ukraine, they did a great job. They did nothing wrong. Afghanistan, perfect pullout, man. That was perfect. They did nothing wrong. They did nothing wrong, according to Blinken. Their diplomacy, their foreign policy was just spot on. Actually, Blinken in the interview claims that 4 years of Biden and 4 years of Blinken's State Department has left the world in a better place than Trump's presidency. They inherited a messed up foreign policy, according to Blinken, from Trump, and things have gotten better thanks to his masterful diplomatic efforts. Blinken says, he said, I don't do politics, I do policy. That was one of the questions that he got. The reporter asked Blinken, what do you make of Trump winning the election? Does that reflect poorly on you, on the State Department and the work that you did? And Blinken said, I don't do politics, I do policy. Blinkety Blinken. I do policy. I'm delusional. I am freaking delusional, man. Yeah, actually, the title from the New York Times is the interview. Anthony Blinken insists he and Biden made the right calls. Yeah, you made the right calls, all right. Jeez. You made the right calls into chaos. So let's begin with the New York Times. Long interview. Very, very long interview. And in this interview on the subject of Project Ukraine, Blinken believes that Ukraine won. He believes that Ukraine won. Actually, Russia lost. Let's be fair to Blinken. Russia lost, according to Blinken. You know why? You know why? You know why? Because Putin was not able to capture Kiev in 3 days. And because Putin was not able to capture Kiev in 3 days, the fantasy that Mark Milley made up, the propaganda lie that Mark Milley made up, anyway, because Putin was not able to capture Kiev in 3 days, Blinken considers this a W for his State Department and an L for Russia. Yep, he said Russia failed. That is what Blinken told the New York Times. He also admitted, this was interesting, he admitted that in September of 2021, let's say six plus months before the special military operation started, he told the New York Times that the United States was arming Ukraine to the teeth in order to prepare for a conflict with Russia. In September of 2021, he was gloating about this. Let me pull up the interview and highlight Blinken's delusion. Let's see here. Here we go. Here's a quote from Blinken. He said, now Russia, right now, this is what he says. Now Russia is engaged in all sorts of nefarious activities, so-called hybrid attacks of one kind or another, whether it's in cyberspace, whether it's acts of sabotage, assassination. Those things are happening. They're happening in Europe. And this is something that we're working very closely on with many of our partners. But in terms of direct conflict, I don't think we've been close, but it's something that we've had to be very, very mindful of as the Biden White House launches long-range missile strikes into Russian territory. But this statement from Blinken is pure projection, man. I mean, talk about freaking projection. Russia right now is involved in sabotage and assassinations. Unbelievable, man. Nefarious activities. Asymmetric war. It's Russia that's engaging in asymmetric war, not us. Of course, the New York Times reporter that was interviewing Blinken said nothing about the assassination of General Kirillov, said nothing about the sinking of the Russian cargo ship, Finland seizing the Russian tanker the other day, the killing of Russian journalists. Actually, I believe today, more Russian journalists were killed. I might be wrong about that, but I think I did read an article this morning that maybe they were injured or they were killed, Russian journalists by the Zelensky regime. The New York Times reporter said nothing about that. It's Russia that is engaging in asymmetric war, according to Blinken. Projection. And everything that they accuse the other side of is exactly what they're doing or what they intend to do. This is the golden rule of neocon, neolib, globalists, globalist warmongers. This is the golden rule. Whatever they accuse the other side of, whatever they accuse you of is exactly what they're doing or what they're planning to do. Their entire mind just operates on projection, like their operating system is all projection. That was an incredible statement from Blinken. He said, we made sure that well before the Russian aggression happened, starting in September and then again December, we quietly got a lot of weapons to Ukraine to make sure that they had in hand what they needed to defend themselves. Things like Stingers, Javelins, that were instrumental in preventing Russia from taking Kiev, from rolling over the country, erasing it from the map, and indeed pushing the Russians back. They didn't take Kiev in 3 days. Russia was pushed back. Thus, Russia has lost. And as the U.S. State Department, we did a great job. Blinken logic. No mention of Istanbul or Minsk. No mention of the ceasefire talks that took place in Minsk. No mention of the ceasefire talks and the agreement that we had in Istanbul. No mention of the fact that the Russian military, as a goodwill gesture, decided to move back because they had a signed agreement with the Zelensky regime, and then Boris the Clown landed in Kiev, and all of that was sabotaged. But no mention from the New York Times reporter of any of that. It was Kiev in 3 days. The Russians were unable to take Kiev in 3 days, and that is why the Blinken State Department is winning. He also said, well, first, what we've left is Ukraine, which was not self-evident because Putin's ambition was to erase it from the map. We stopped that. Putin has failed. Ukraine is standing. And I believe it also has extraordinary potential, not only to survive, but to thrive going forward. And that does depend on decisions that the future administration and many other countries will make. The reporter then asked Blinken, do you think it's time to end the war, though? These are decisions for Ukrainians to make, Blinken said. They have to decide where their future is and how they want to go there. Where the line is drawn on the map at this point, I don't think is fundamentally going to change very much. No, the line is going to change a lot, Blinken. That line is going to change a whole lot, especially if there's no ceasefire agreement. But anyway, this statement from Blinken is very interesting. This is Blinken's admission that the Biden White House, they are going to blame everything that happens to Ukraine from January 20th going forward. They're going to blame it all on Trump. He says it. He very clearly says it in this statement. We helped Ukraine survive. Russia didn't take it in 3 days. Ukraine is still standing. Russia was pushed back. Ukraine has a potential, what did he say, to thrive. It has the potential to thrive going forward. But that depends on the Trump administration. That's pretty much what Blinken is saying. He's basically saying that as Ukraine collapses, what we did is we kept Ukraine afloat. At what cost? Well, the cost of the entire country, but we kept it afloat. And if it collapses, when the Trump administration is in the White House, then it's all their fault. That is what Blinken is saying in this statement. That is exactly the plan that they're looking to put forward. They're going to blame it all on Trump. And the media is going to go along with it. Absolutely. They're all going to blame Trump if Ukraine collapses, especially if Trump can't get a ceasefire and the Russians just say, okay, we're just going to push forward with the SMO. It's all going to be blamed on Trump, and that is exactly what Blinken's saying. And then he adds the caveat when the reporter asks him about whether it's time to end the war. What does Blinken say? It's not our decision, man. It's not a decision for us to make. That's Ukraine's decision. We're cutting Ukraine loose. Was never our decision. Never will be our decision as the Biden White House. Never was, never will be. We just prevented Russia from taking Kiev, and the rest is up to the Zelensky regime. We're washing our hands of all of this. Unbelievable statements from Blinken in this New York Times interview. And he told the Financial Times in an interview with the title, China has been trying to have it both ways. He told the Financial Times that China has allowed companies to send items with both civilian and military applications to Russia, while also claiming to want to help bring peace in Ukraine. So in the Financial Times article, he's blaming much of Project Ukraine on China. It's China's fault. Can't have it both ways, China. That is what Blinken is saying. He also told the Financial Times that he has reason to believe that Russia wanted to use a nuclear weapon in Ukraine, but China talked Putin out of it. That's what Blinken claims. We have reason to believe that China engaged Russia and said, "Don't go there." Blinken suggested China may have taken similar actions when the U.S. accused Russia of planning to deploy nuclear weapons in space, a claim Moscow dismissed as fake. Remember that nuclear weapons in space story about a year and a half ago? That nonsense story about nukes in space? Yeah, Blinken says that was Russia, that Russia was thinking about putting nukes in space, and it was China that talked them out of that. And then he told the Financial Times that Russia wanted to use a nuclear weapon in Ukraine. Everything's projection now. Everything is projection. Keep that in mind. But Blinken said Russia wants to use a nuclear weapon in Ukraine, but it was China that talked Russia out of it. And it was China that was trying to have it both ways, talking about peace in Ukraine, but also funding, supplying Putin's war machine. It's all China's fault. You notice who doesn't get any blame? You notice who doesn't take any responsibility, any accountability? You notice? It's Blinken, the Biden White House. They did nothing wrong. We did nothing wrong. Nothing. It's China's fault. It's going to be Trump's fault. It's just not our fault. None of this is our fault. We were awesome, man. We were the best State Department. Let's do a clown world and wrap this video up. So sticking with the Biden White House, Bidenopolis, he gave some medals out, some awards. The Medal of Freedom to how many people? 19 people? Something like that. I believe 19 medals, or 18. I don't know. Politico said Biden bestows final presidential medals of freedom. The honorees include Hillary Clinton, Lionel Messi, and Anna Wintour. Biden said, "You're leaving an incredible mark on our country with insight and influence that can be felt around the globe." He also gave a Medal of Freedom to Soros. Yeah. And Magic Johnson and Bono. Actually, here's the list. Jose Andre. This is the guy that actually took a picture with Ruth, the guy that tried to assassinate Trump the second time. He gave that guy a Medal of Freedom, Biden. He gave a Medal of Freedom to Bono. Who else? Clinton, Michael J. Fox, Jane Goodall, Magic Johnson, Robert F. Kennedy, Ralph Lauren, Lionel Messi, Bill Nye, the science guy, George Soros, Denzel Washington, Anna Wintour, and some other people. The New York Times, their article says, Biden awards 18 medals of freedom and delivers one unmistakable message. With a recipient list stoked with old guard icons and political backers, the president signaled support for the establishment his successor wants to tear down. Actually, this is one of those rare times that I'm in agreement with the New York Times' reporting. Most of the people on this list, not all of them, but most of the people on this list are Biden's FU to Trump, to America first. Yeah, that's what this list is. This is Biden saying that the establishment is here to stay. The globalists, the neocons, the neolibs, the kleptocrats, we're not going anywhere. And so I'm going to give all of these people medals. Soros' son, Alex Soros, accepted the medal on behalf of his father. A medal of freedom to Soros. Unbelievable. What a world we live in. Soros was recognized for his efforts to strengthen democracy, human rights, education, and social justice through his Open Society Foundation, as well as partners and projects in more than 120 countries. The 94-year-old billionaire did not attend the ceremony, with his son Alex Soros accepting the award on his behalf. Unbelievable. Unfreaking believable. I'm not surprised, actually. I am not surprised that Soros got a medal. Or Clinton. I'm not surprised that Hillary got a medal. Not surprised at all. Bono doesn't surprise me. When Bono got his medal, when his name was announced, Biden gave 2 fist pumps, or pumped both of his fists, yeah. Because Biden, I guess Biden is Irish, or of Irish descent. I apologize to all of the viewers in Ireland, but yeah, Biden is of Irish descent, and of course Bono. And I guess he feels some sort of kinship to Bono, Biden and Bono. What happened to Bono? He became such an uber globalist. Bono. What a shame. What a shame. Magic Johnson. The photo of Biden putting the medal on Magic Johnson. Yeah, that's going to... That photo is going to create a lot of memes. That photo of Biden putting the medal on Magic Johnson, man. How about Messi? How about Messi? Didn't show up. Didn't send anybody to accept the medal. Didn't care. Messi didn't care. Good on you, Messi. Good on you. So, those are the medals that Biden gave. Oh, he also gave a medal to Romney, huh? No, not the George W. Romney. Okay. I was thinking the other Romney. No, George W. Romney. All right. Jean-Pierre posted on X. Here's to the best team in the business. I couldn't do it without you. Let's run through the tape. With a couple of weeks left, Jean-Pierre posted on X. The best in the business, she says. She got demolished in the replies on X for that post. She got demolished. That's right, Jean-Pierre. You spent how many years covering up? 2 years? She took over for Psaki. 2-3 years covering up Biden's diminished state. Good job. Real good job. Not to mention everything else that the White House press office misled the world about, and I am choosing my words very, very diplomatically. I'm just choosing my words very carefully. Anyway, that's the video, everybody. TheDuran.locals.com. We are on Rumble, Odyssey, BitChute, Telegram, and Rockfin. Go to the Duran shop, pick up some merch like what I'm wearing in this video update today. The link is in the description box down below. Take care.